Raj.
Yeah. Yes, Saudaji, shall we start? You are muted, it seems.
How many people are there? Yeah, participant to be there now. Then only we can start it.
Okay.
Only 3 people are seen.
No, 28, 29.
I don't know why it is showing me only 3 here.
No, that is depends on view which you have selected.
Okay. If all are there, we will get started. No, within 1 minute. Okay.
Okay. We need to make sure whether the doctor has joined or not.
Check. I cannot see it because it is only showing me 4 participants. Yeah, it is updating now. We can see there are at least 30 people are there. Yeah. Our president has joined.
Yeah, joined.
Yes, joined.
Okay, let us start then. Ask his permission.
Wait, Doc. I need to call Dr. Shekhar.
Check. Dr. Madam Sika is there and Dr. Janvier is okay.
No, Dr. Janvier is not there, right?
Check with the new setup.
No, he is not there. That's why.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
to you all.
Ma'am, could you please check Dr. Janvier? He is not there. Actually, we have changed the meeting. Earlier it was dry run. Now we came to this meeting. Could you please check and let him to join here?
Okay.
Send the WhatsApp link again, so it will be easy for him to understand.
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay. Oh, the same link only. You cannot change it.
You have if you have his number, call him and inform. Okay, let's start.
Wait.
Doctor, I had sent you link, the same link you can forward to Dr. Janvir. So he can join by clicking on that link itself.
Yes.
You send me?
No.
I sent it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, ma'am.
Let's get the confirmation from him.
Yeah, we'll start, I think.
No problem, Ramana. Just wait a couple of minutes. Let doctor comes, then we'll start.
He is our esteemed guest speaker today, so you should wait a little longer. or help him to get connected if he is a difficulty, Ramana.
Okay.
Yes. Hello, hello. Good evening.
Is that control?
Yes, Ramana.
No, that actually one symbol will be there where I can copy and send the code, but it's not showing here. The meeting ID and password. Directly he can join. That I couldn't see able to see now.
I can help you. Just guide me. I can collect something if you need.
Top left corner, you will see one
Okay,
green
meeting
symbol.
information. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Invite
exactly.
link you're saying?
Yeah,
Copy 1 minute. It will go 1 minute, 1 minute. Yes.
Copy and paste to me.
Yeah, I did it. Okay, I did it now. Okay.
Okay. No, where did you put
It is on this chat only. Okay.
No. You have
Where
WhatsApp.
you want it on your WhatsApp?
Or Madam Dr. Sheka can send it to Dr. Janvi.
Raji, I send it to you.
Okay. If you send it to me, I'll send.
Okay, I send it to doctor also.
Yeah.
This link just send to WhatsApp to Dr. Sika. She will forward to our speaker.
Which link? I'm getting confused.
Just press link. We have sent it.
Yeah.
Raman,
Okay.
just send it to Madam Sika.
It's not the link in the chat. You mean?
No, yeah, both are same, I think. Just a minute, but I'll forward to you.
Because I cannot copy or paste or do anything in here.
No, I'm sending you. 1 minute, madam.
I have forwarded. Just check, ma'am, now.
Okay.
The same link you need to send to Dr. Janvi.
Okay.
And he can join us directly.
Yeah, he has joined.
Okay, great.
Okay. Let's get back to honor. Okay.
So then now you can start.
Oh, career. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to all. To this wonderful evening, on behalf of American Society Secretary of year 2021, I'm inviting you all for a WISE event, Women in Safety Excellence, for a webinar on COVID-19 vaccine in workplace. It is really very exciting webinar. That big hope is there for all of us, which we have gone through COVID time. So today the speaker will be Mr. Janvier Gassana, and we will be hearing a lot about this today. And the program is like that. Just open this agenda, Ramana.
Yeah.
Usually our business runs like we are starting with our HSC moment, which women member Noor Al Sadi will be giving us, and then welcome address, which I have already started with this. And brief of chapter activity, I will be going through a quick snap of our activity, what we are doing, and then Madam Janet Nazare will elaborate more on the WISE activity. And then I will be inviting a speaker introduction by Dr. Sika Al-Fazam for today's speaker. And there will be a presentation from Dr. Janvir Gassana, and there will be online quiz. And then we will be having felicitation of a speaker, and then online certificate distribution to the quiz winner and the vote of thank by Dr. Sika Al-Fazam. So let us move to our HSC moment by Noor Al-Sadeh.
Allow me to share my screen. Okay, perfect. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Noor, and today I'll be presenting today's safety moment. So I hope everyone can see my screen. Let me just make sure. I'm hiding everything and it's clear. Perfect. Okay, so since we're talking about the COVID-19 vaccine in the workplace, it's my honor to share with you some of Schlumberger's best practices when it comes to COVID-19. Now, when I'm talking about the COVID-19 situation, going back to work, coming back to work 50% and increasing, I want to share something that's very simple that you can share with your families, your colleagues, and of course, benefit yourself too. So, if you haven't heard, I hope you guys will enjoy also this little tiny presentation, which is the COVID-19 life-saving rules. It's basically 3 things that you have to remember. These rules came from the IGOP, so the International Gas, Oil, Petroleum. So the first thing I want to talk about is the ISS. Okay, one second. There we go. So when we're talking about ISS, we want to evaluate the risk exposure when it comes to COVID-19. For example, if you have, you wake up in the morning, before you go to work, you have a self-assessment. So basically, you assess if you are capable of going to work or traveling, depending on the condition, correct? So you don't basically spread the disease, or if you do have or not the virus, my apologies. Now, that's the assess part. The second part we have to make sure is I prevent. What do we mean when we say I prevent? So are you saying over here, just because the vaccine is out, many people have their own consumptions. They think like, okay, so if I took the vaccine, then I'm not prone to have COVID before. So it's okay, I can just go out without a mask, for example. No, we are still in the midst of this pandemic. So I prevent, you are still required to wear a face mask, cover as required by local authorities, and of course, regulations in your workplace. Of course, washing hand and sanitizing frequently as much as possible. And that means 30 seconds, guys, not just like wash and dry, no. Of course, maintain physical distance. When we're saying maintain physical distance, we're talking about minimum of 2 meters. And if you do speak to someone, try to maintain less than 15 minutes of constant conversation. And of course, remember to wear a mask. So that's the prevent. Now, the last part of the life-saving rules is I protect. You follow the rules and you know that there are a set of quarantine isolation processes, especially if you're traveling from country to country, you have shifts, rotation, depending on your job and etc. So remember to always stick to the authorities and local regulations. So, and of course, this is something common sense. HSE is all about logic and common sense. I stay at home if I'm sick or a member of my household is sick, right? And of course, the last thing is to remember is I save lives, as in I put myself and my family and my friends and my colleagues' lives not at risk by saving lives and following these 3 simple rules. Now, real quick, just remember I assess, I prevent, I protect. Now, Schlumberger has basically, for coming from headquarters, a bunch of SMEs. So we're talking about subject matter experts, and they will just give you a really quick rundown on how to practice these 3.
This is a message to all the Schlumberger family members about coronavirus. I would like to request you all to wear masks, and wearing masks is the same thing as developing the habit of wearing seatbelt to stay protected.
Los héroes usan máscara y para nosotros vos sos nuestro héroe.
Use soap and water or alcohol base 100. Stay an arm's length away from those who are coughing or sneezing. Use a face mask if social distance isn't possible. Don't touch your eyes, nose, and mouth. Cover your nose and mouth with a bent elbow or a tissue.
Basically, that's it. Thank you guys, and just remember the life-saving rules.
Thank you, Engineer Noor Saadi. For a quick reminder, start with the I assess, I prevent, and I protect, which will be carry on till we are getting over with the COVID pandemic around us. Now I will go for a quick briefing of our chapter activity. Those who are new to American Society chapter activity and they are joining us for first time. So it is a immense valuable platform and how we are managing our activity. You can get a takeaway message and how you can participate and lead some role here. So these are some of the activity we have done in recent event, like webinar on importance of LinkedIn account for HSE professional by speaker Abdul Musawwir on 7th October, when 95 members participated and get benefited by this. For every third of the Wednesday, we are meeting we have a group process safety management forum, and they are arranging every Wednesday a technical presentation where a newcomer and with old experienced professionals share their view and share their learning. It's a good program which had held on 21st of October, and again it will be coming on 3rd of Wednesday of this month again. So 108 members participated and got benefited by this. This was another webinar on cyber safety and security in connected world by speaker Mr. Sangameshwaram Iyer from USA on 24th of October, where 68 members participated and got benefited. This is another event by WISE, a webinar on awareness on breast cancer by speaker Dr. Anwar Al-Nazar on 31st of October, where 62 members participated and got benefited by this awareness session. This is another webinar on career growth opportunity in HSE profession by Mr. Muhammad K.S. Mohiddin on 5th of November, where 109 members participated and got benefit from this. As you are aware, we are also running many training programs with agreed condition for our member and for their career progression. So in that regard, there was ISO 45001 lead auditor course, 5 days course. And then after, there was a commemoration of World Diabetes Day by Dr. Amir Ahmed and Dr. Muhammad Yusufdar on 14th of November, where 55 members participated and got benefit on this. This is another program from Process Safety Management Technical Meet 5 on 18th of November, where 82 members participated and got benefit by regularly attending such career and progression. Webinar on Global HSC Certification and Recertification, Your Career, Your Future by Mr. Bala Sivasrikant on 25th of November, where 124 members attended. This is another webinar on working online. How about ergonomics by WISE team? And the speaker was Ms. Anwar Ali on 28th of November, where 78 members attended and participated. This is another program on process safety management, meeting number 6, where Mr. Vasudevan and Ramachandran Murthy given a presentation on 16th of December. And this was another program by webinar on Confine a Space Entry Application by MSA by speaker Radha Krishnan and Adil Afjal, where 141 members benefited by attending on 20th of December. As you are aware that we have our Toastmaster Club, Kuwait KC Club, and we are meeting 1st and 3rd of Saturday, every Saturday by 6:30. Those who are looking for an opportunity to develop their skill in leadership and interpersonal skill, they can join us as a guest, and then you see the enormous benefit by attending such meetings. Ramana, it seems it's just, okay. Now I will invite Madam Janet Nazare, Deputy Vice Committee for briefing of WISE event. Ms. Janet Nazare, Deputy Vice Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Safdar Ali. Am I audible to everyone?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, dear.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you from WISE team. My name is Janet Nazare, Deputy Head of WISE Committee, and today I will be briefing you on WISE activities and the WISE Committee. It is an insight for those who are joining new. Actually, every time we have been sharing these WISE activities because maybe there is some new person joining in, so it will be like an insight. So ASSP Kuwait chapter, Women in Safety Excellence, WISE, is a common interest group that advances ASSP members and the safety professions through education, mentorship, networking, collaboration, and innovation. We connect experienced and rising OSS professionals from Kuwait to invest in the future of women in the safety profession. Furthermore, many women have made great contribution to the safe profession in Kuwait, and we want to ensure that there is a place for more female-led initiatives in future. So please join hands with WISE and refer your friends. So if you have any friends, you can refer them. And the annual membership for the ASSP Kuwait chapters, this thing membership is 30 KD for Kuwaitis and 25 KD for others. You can contact ASSP Kuwait chapter or any of our WISE team for the becoming a member, or you can refer a member to us. Now we will see the previous activities that a WISE committee has all held. So we had this technical meet on risk and mental well-being during COVID-19. This was conducted by Dr. Al-Anaud Al-Atiq on 24th of September. We had around 65 participation. We had a webinar on awareness on breast cancer by Dr. Anwar An-Najjar on 21st of October, and there were around 62 members who attended this program. Then we had a webinar on working online. How about ergonomics by Ms. Anwar Ali on 28th of November, attended by 78 members. So please also stay tuned for our upcoming WISE events. We have more program coming up, so please don't miss out. We have this program on women's health sensitive topic discussion. We have the skin care routine for women. Then we will be having this blood donation campaign and Women Day Out. So please inform your friends and colleagues and your family that we have all this program coming up. So thank you very much. Once again, I would like to welcome our speaker, Dr. Janveer Gassana, who will be sharing today's topic on COVID-19 vaccine in the workplace. I would really appreciate Vice Committee Head, Dr. Sheikha Al-Fajam, for her leadership and her extraordinary commitment in arranging Vice Committee and its activities with such a dedication. Thank you so much, Dr. Sheikha.
Welcome.
So thanks to my dear friends, Dr. Al-Anaud and Ms. Zahida Farooq for their support and cooperation in managing the WISE events. And also thank you, Engineer Noor Al-Sadi for presenting the safety movement today. Just yesterday only we discussed and immediately she accepted to share the safety movement. Thank you so much, Noor. Thanks to ASSP Chairman Fahad Ali, President Jahid Thakur, Advisory and EC Committee, Rishi and Ramana for your support. WISE. Thank you so much. So now over to Dr. Sheikha for speaker introduction. Thank you. Dr. Sheikha, please.
Yeah, thank you, Janet. Good evening, everyone. Today, we are very honored for the opportunity of having Professor Janveer Gassana as our speaker. Professor Gassana holds an MD degree, medical doctorate, from the National University of Rwanda, and he had both master and PhD degrees in environmental and occupational health sciences from the University of Illinois at Chicago School of Public Health. He is the inaugural chair of the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health of Kuwait University, Faculty of Public Health since January of 2016. He also previously had the position for 4 years at National University of Rwanda, Faculty of Medicine, and for 20 years at the Florida International University in USA. He served in the capacity of advisor for CDC, which is Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and for the United States Environmental Protection Agency. He is an active member of International Congress of Occupational Health and OSHA Africa, and on the South Africa Society of Occupational Medicine. So please join me in welcoming Professor Gassana. Yes, Professor Gassana.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me share with you my presentation. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Do you all see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Clear. Yeah.
So we'll be talking about COVID vaccine in the workplace, and the really subject is in the mind of many people, including myself. And as I'm sharing this, we will have to remind people before we get the vaccine, we have to follow the public health and the social control measures. Okay. I declare no conflict of interest. My only public health claim is vaccines don't save life, vaccination do. And you understand what I'm trying to say? If we have vaccines, we don't take them, then there is no use to doing that. And, you know, so I will describe the process of production and approval of vaccine very briefly, and I'll describe how the vaccine works to protect us, and then the vaccine technology, and then the new technology called mRNA and its different other approaches. There's a number of vaccines. Actually, there are about more than 100 vaccines under development, but I only selected 9 here. It's the first 2 are already being administered, actually the first 3, no, actually 4 and 5. So we have Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, University of Oxford vaccine, AZD1222, and an Indian variant, Covishield vaccine, and an India Biotech Covaxin. These last 2 were administered today, and that was the first day of administering these vaccines. And actually, I'm following this up because Dr. Shubuhendu, who's in India, who was our consultant on our KFAS project, he gave me the numbers before I started the conference. They had just vaccinated 1,600,000 people. You can see this in just one day. And then you have Johnson & Johnson, Janssen, these are still in a 3rd trial. We have Novavax, Sinovac, Sinopharm, Sputnik 5. And then number 6, I'll be really giving a few tips how to counter social media and professional reporting on COVID-19 and vaccines, and there'll be question and answers. So, as I said, before we get back to normal, we need to get vaccinated, we need to wear a mask, we need to wash our hands, and we need to watch to our distance. Okay. So, as a public health professional, I can tell you that among the 10 great public health achievements, this was in the United States between 1900 and 1999, but it's true all over the world, even Rwanda, when I was born. I'm here because I've been vaccinated, and most of us are still around because vaccination is really, vaccine were quite life-saving. So since 1900, we gained more than 30 years of lifespan. 25 of those years are from advances in public health. Vaccination is number 1, as you can see on my list here. First report on the vaccine, this was the eradication of smallpox. We'll see in what year that happened, actually 1980. Almost elimination of poliomyelitis. And then you control the others through the regular vaccines we receive in infancy. And we have tetanus, diphtheria, Haemophilus influenza, and other infectious diseases. So you can see we had other achievements, but vaccine was number 1. We have motor vehicle, we have family planning, fluoridation, drinking water, recognition of tobacco use as a health hazard. So it's really vaccines at the top. Look at the history. Already in 2000, before the common era in China, they had a vaccine for smallpox. See, and in 1952, we had the first effective polio vaccine. In 1980, that's when eradication of smallpox was declared by the World Health Organization. And then the polio had been eliminated from Europe, 2002. It's about to be eliminated in most other countries now. So just a matter of time. And then we have the first rotavirus vaccine in 2008. I'll tell you more when I get to it because I had really difficult experience with treating kids who had diarrhea diseases in Africa. So basically, prophylactic vaccination is one of the cheapest, most effective form of public health medical intervention. You have to understand Jenner, he did this work in 1796. Now we got new vaccines, all have been saving lives. So general smallpox vaccination was rolled out in the UK, reducing the number of deaths from smallpox from 18,000 to the first decade, 1791 to 1800, the last decade before vaccination, to down to 7,158 in a following decade, which is 1810, 1820. And James Philip Lieber to age 66. He would have died if he didn't have the smallpox vaccine. In 1800, in 18th century, we have vaccinia virus, and in 19th century, Pasteur, most of you know him, he was a microbiologist who demonstrated with his colleague that inactivated or attenuated organism could provide protection. Now, in 20th century, we're more sophisticated. We now have this mRNA vaccines, as you will see. Everybody knows this. If you have a child or nephew, or you take care of a child, they had to go through these series of vaccines. I'm sorry. So I remember rotavirus because when I was, fresh out of medical school, the National University of Rwanda, we had kids who were dying of diarrhea diseases. And in 2008, when the vaccine was basically made available, I mean, lives have been saved. So we have less children who are dying from diarrhea disease. And you can see we have really a long list of all those currently used vaccines. So how is a vaccine approved for production? You will see soon. In fact, there is I have some figures that I'll be sharing with you. The vaccine goes through the pre-approval, and they have regulatory approval, and then you have a WHO pre-qualification. This is when we're talking about global health emergencies, you need to get what they call WHO emergency use listing procedure. And now you provide them the vaccine for emergency. So how is it made? It's a part of the virus. You see, you have an antigen, part of the germ, that the immune system reacts to. It gets weakened or deactivated, and then all these ingredients are combined. But now WHO came up with this COVAX. As you can see, COVAX, it's really contemporary culture virtual archive in XML, extensible markup language. So basically the consortium of about 190 countries, this will streamline the process, make sure that everybody get the vaccine. So in the end, everybody will get the vaccine. So how it is packaged? Once the vaccine is made in bulk quantities, it get basically battered in a glass vial and then carefully saved and transferred through safe storage and then sent to destination. How it gets stored? Oh, we got to be careful because when it's too hot or too cold, it becomes inactivated. When I was a faculty at the medical school in Rwanda, I remember an expert from WHO who came and he was showing us that depending how often you open the fridge, at the end of the day, often so many times, your vaccines at the end of the day will be inactive. So you have to be extremely careful of the way you open the fridge. And how is it shipped? And we see on slide 17, the journal vaccine through the cold chain, especially those two vaccines I shared with you, Pfizer and Moderna. They are really stored at the very low temperatures. Pfizer at minus 70 degrees Celsius, Moderna at minus 20 degrees Celsius. How the quality control is done, we see that too. So this is how everything gets done here. A pharmaceutical company, they will be in their own offices, buildings, just doing some scale studies. You see they're using a microscope. And then at one point they start in vitro And then you get in vivo. This is non-clinical. And then you have this 3-phase. This is European, medical agency or FDA in the US, which is the Federal Drug Administration. They had to watch these, the results of these 3 clinical trials. You can see in the first trial, maybe out of this number of people, you take 1, phase 2 increase the number, you could do 3, and then phase 3, you get really a lot of people. In fact, there is been reported Pfizer has about 37,000 volunteers. And you have an evaluation for regulating agencies. Then you have a manufacturing. And then you have the phase 4. This is what they call the safety monitoring phase. You see, when you get your vaccine, they watch you for about 15 minutes, before you leave, if there's any reaction you might have. But also they have to stay in touch with you, because if you really have any reaction, any problem, you have to report this, because the regulatory agencies like FDA, they may decide to stop the vaccine with a lot of side effect. As you understand why the phase 4, which is a safety monitoring phase, is really important. So the standard vaccines compared to COVID-19, look what they go through. Pharmaceutical quality, non-clinical research, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and clinical trials. And then the vaccine is available. And then in COVID-19, we see the reason why it was really speed up somehow, the process of approving it. But they didn't skip any of the steps. There was no way. So it was quickly done, as we see the reason in the coming slides. So phase 1, as I said, you have to make sure that the vaccine is safe. It induces an immune response. If the answer is no, they have to stop. Okay. You go to phase 2, include the people representing part of the population, the vaccination target at. So 200 participants. And then you go to phase 3, and now you get really 1,000, like in case Pfizer, they had about 37,000 volunteers, and actually Moderna had about the same number, if not more. And then you look at some rare side effect, not seen in the previous studies because you have fewer volunteers. Actually, in many cases, you have more than 1 phase 3 studies, okay? Able to be undertaken along a large geographic area. You take into account the diverse groups. You remember for Pfizer, they looked at your age, your ethnicity. So they really include all those diverse groups, and in order to make sure that the vaccine will be, it will be working for everyone, not just few people. So these are the reason why the development of a vaccine for COVID-19 will speed up. Availability of immediate funding and human resources. You remember COVAX? That's a program that WHO came up with. A number of countries pledged the funding at that time. So, because most of the time the pharmaceutical company will spend time trying to write grants, and if they're lucky, they get funded. And then a quick authorization of clinical trials. There was no delay, of course, because this was an urgent matter. Many volunteers, which means getting large amount of data more quickly. And that's very important. International collaboration and pooling of expertise. And in this case, it was EU, but in the US, it will be the FDA. All of these factors make evaluation and final approval much quicker. See now what I was explaining to you. This is the journey of a vaccine through the cold chain. This is in the lab of pharmaceutical companies. And then they develop the vaccine, and then they go through the clinical trials. And then once they have it, they have to go, if there's for global emergency, health emergency, they have to go through WHO, the World Health Organization. they get this approval, what is called pre-qualification and emergency use listing, EUL, and they start manufacturing it. And then, start packaging it and then transporting in cold storage. This is very important. And then delivery, and then it gets another vaccination campaign. Remember my quote, vaccines don't save lives, but vaccination do. And then of course, phase 4, ongoing safety check. So everybody you vaccine, you have to keep track of them. You got to get all the contact information. Now I have this quote from Eugene Foster, 1896. He said, the millions of human lives, as I shall show, have been preserved by the fruit of general genius. Yet today, thousands of men, some intelligent though designing, some intelligent though deluded, the great mass of them fanatical and ignorant, decry vaccination as not only being of non-service to humanity, but positive and nuisance injurious to health and life. While millions of our fellow men are utterly ignorant of and indifferent to the matter. Most of us really don't even pay attention, but some really people they really against it, as you will see some of these campaigns. So these words, written by Eugene in 1896, it's astonishing because things didn't change despite measurable impact of vaccines. So how do vaccines work? They mimic the natural infection, they stimulate the immune system. The key requirements, you got to have a memory, see? Because if you don't get the memory, then nothing will happen. You have to be specific. And they use this, don't have time to get into virology, but in immunology, we had these memory T and B cells induce the specific immunity, eliminate the organism, or neutralize the bacteria toxins. You already have some non-specific response yourself. You have your anatomic barriers, your skin. It plays a role in innate immunity. Physiological barriers, acidity and chemical mediators, phagocytosis, these are your blood cells. They do your job. Inflammation is included too. Then you have natural killer cells. It helps, and you can see they combine to engulf some of these foreign bodies and then destroy them, basically. If that's the idea of phagocytosis. But you have adaptive immunity, which is really basically what the vaccine will use, respond to specific antigen challenge using those cells I mentioned, and we get a response, a cell-mediated cellular immunity, immune immunity. You see, the first dose, as you can say now, we have the first dose, there is a response. So your serum antibody will go up this side, but when you get the second one, oh, really, you get better response. That's why you need 2 doses now, okay? If you get 1 dose, you be partially protected. We don't know, maybe you might lose your immunity quite quickly. You need to get the second dose. These are how vaccines work. You see, there are 2 main types. Attenuated, containing weakened form of the pathogen. Inactivated, you use kill the pathogens. However, there are also some adjuvants that's been added to vaccine to make them work. These are ingredients of vaccines. And one of them, thimerosal, it's ethyl mercury, is a preservative, made the noise, and the people are still using it, as we would see, and then we have formaldehyde. It's already present in the human body, but being used. So the quantities of all these ingredients are so small to the point scientists think they won't cause a problem. We have aluminum-based mineral salt in hepatitis A, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, and HPV. already there. So aluminum is already the third most common natural occurring element. It's like a mirror basically, and it's really, added in minute, amounts. And then we have these vaccines that I was just mentioning them. We have live attenuated vaccine, measles, mumps. There is a problem here because if you use live, they might revert back to the infection type. And then you don't want to run into that problem. Inactivated, you sure they are really killed. Cholera, rabies, influenza. Or you can use toxoid vaccine, tetanus, diphtheria, subunit vaccine, hepatitis B, or conjugate vaccine, which is now used in Haemophilus influenza type B. Where are we today? You see, diphtheria reduction is down to 99.4. So we're about to eradicate it. But look at smallpox. In 2006, it was declared gone, and reduction was 100%. Polio, we were about to get there too, 99.99%. So you see, we're doing really well in these areas. These are vaccine platforms. Over 200 different vaccines are in development. Some are using proteins, and some are using inactivated part of the virus, virus-like proteins, mRNA, that's the one Pfizer and Moderna is using, live recombinant viral vector, you have self-amplifying RNA, you have DNA, they have attenuated, so you can see over 200 different vaccines now are being developed for COVID-19. As you can see, in terms of quantity, protein subunit vaccine, it's used 33% of the total use. This is a pie showing the different categories of the vaccines under research now. But RNA-based vaccine about 13%. And then replicating viral vector vaccine about 9%. You see, this is the long list I was talking about 150 vaccines development. You see BioNTech, Pfizer, you see Moderna, using RNA. There are about 30 companies working on this. And then you have Gamaleya Research Institute, that's Sputnik 5, University of Oxford, AstraZeneca. They're using only replicating viral vector. 29 companies working on this. And then we have inactivated about 14. We have Sinopharma from China, Bharat Biotech, that's India start to use, administering today. We have a Novavax, it's in the US, actually it's about to be administered to people also. They're using a virus like a protein, about 13 companies working on this. And then you have, this is actually showing, you can see clearly these RNA vaccines that have BioNTech, Pfizer, and Moderna, because the previous slide was not really readable. And then you have a Gamaleya, we have a Johnson & Johnson. It's in a phase trial, and then, phase 3 trial. And then Oxford, University of Oxford, AstraZeneca is being administered in the UK now. And then they have a Novavax, which use a virus-like protein. So we have Pfizer BioNTech, which is 95% effective in using mRNA, 2 doses, 3 weeks apart. Moderna, it's almost the same. It's 94.5 using mRNA or so. Those doses are separated by 4 weeks. But the issue, Pfizer is stored at -70 degrees Celsius. This will be a very big problem in further the countries, like in Africa where I was born. They might not have really these freezers. They might keep the vaccine under, -70 degrees Celsius. And then you have Moderna minus 20 degrees Celsius up to 6 months. In the AstraZeneca, a 70% efficacy rate using weakened adenovirus. They have an Indian variant. It's 95% actually, with 2 doses, 2 to 3 month interval between the 2 doses. And that was basically, as I said, it started today to be administered to the people in India. And then you have COVAX in India also. It started today. It's an activated virus. Johnson Johnson, it's 80%. It's 1 dose. It'll be used because at the end of phase 3 trial, it will be end of January. Novavax, 2 doses. And we have the second dose after 21 days. And then Sinovac has 78% efficacy, but some studies, depending on the country they did their trial in, down to 50% efficacy. You have Sinopharm, 79 efficacy rate. Sputnik, 91.4 efficacy. So these are the vaccines available now. Now, let's really talk about the mRNA. mRNA, basically, the technology uses a spike protein as found in the surface of the coronavirus. The immune system then recognizes that the protein doesn't belong to the body, it builds an immune response, protecting itself from future infection from the real virus. So basically, mRNA vaccine never enter the nucleus of the human cell, which is the DNA, as we know, that's where the genetic material is stored. It doesn't interfere in any way with the human DNA. So people are afraid that this might be a problem. It really doesn't get into the DNA. So the body rapidly breaks down the mRNA material once it has taken the instructions to build immunity, to the virus. There are advantages and disadvantages of different vaccine platforms. I told you, if you have live attenuated vaccine, the problem, it's a risk of reversion to pathogenic form. The protein vaccines is here, the potential poor immunogenic without advent. But mRNA vaccine, they're fast to generate. The translations, it happens in cytosol, not in the nucleus. But it's a new platform, not yet used in human efficacy study. It's unstable, need formulation. So we're learning as we go. So what are the barriers? Access and cost issues among certain populations, language barriers, a failure to obtain a booster shots. If you don't get the second vaccine, remember the second dose, that'll be a problem. Fear, concerning vaccination. And in developing countries, all kinds of logistic issues, storage, poor infrastructure, lack of roads, and then you have shortage of healthcare workers. Now, the some myth, and that's what we really would like to dispel this myth with you. Was the COVID-19 vaccine approval process rushed? The vaccine could be dangerous because it was rushed through approval. That's not the case. I showed you that, in fact, although the vaccine process went quickly, safety protocols were followed, okay? We shouldn't really have a problem with that. Then we have FDA, some of these agencies, we really stay on top of phase 4 of the safety monitoring phase. Number 2, have the COVID-19 vaccine being tested enough? The vaccines haven't been tested rigorously enough on humans. The vaccine have followed safety protocols, including human testing. So there's no doubt about this. And, so why the COVID-19 vaccine development has operated at fast retirement, manufacturer still must follow the usual process. There's no agency that escaped the different phases. And as you know, if FDA, for example, follow through the phase 4 of safety monitoring, find out in fact some of the vaccine are not working, they remove from the market. You remember the treatment, because they deal with treatment too. Chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, they've been removed from the market. That was the FDA. He said, well, we really don't want to keep administering it because there is no basically results as such. Why are multiple companies releasing COVID-19 vaccine? There must be one vaccine is better than others. In fact, having more than one safe, effective vaccine is a good thing. That's why we need all these companies. They've been investing their time and money in it. The more we have, the better we will. Is the COVID-19 vaccine dangerous? The vaccine contains harmful ingredients. That's not true, the fact. There is no evidence of the vaccine containing harmful ingredients. Yes, Pfizer and Moderna vaccine use different technology than the traditional technology. The mRNA I just showed you, there's no way, because the mRNA gets destroyed quickly as soon as the body gets the signal to defend itself against the virus. So basically, they teach your body how to select the component of the virus, which trigger the immune system to attack and destroy the next virus that comes along. And then there will be that monitoring phase 4. I have to be really, it's very important to follow up, on people that got the vaccination. Is there a tracking microchip in the COVID-19 vaccine? Or there is a myth. There is a microchip in a vaccine that will track people who get it. The fact, this is total false and baseless. Almost a month ago, I gave a talk at the Al Salam International Hospital. And then somehow a reporter from Voice of America was basically attending my session. And he gave me an interview in my native language, because Voice of America have a radio that's, they use my native language in Central Africa. And then I received a call from my brother in Rwanda. He said, oh, my neighbor came to see me saying, they heard you on Voice of America. He said, you're promoting the vaccine. And they told him, look, tell him that we won't take the vaccine, because we don't trust the vaccine, because we think Bill Gates and some other big guys are trying to control the population. So already my native language, they said they don't want the vaccine. You can see there's a lot of rumors around, and that's really what we're trying to dispel here. Can I be allergic to the COVID-19 vaccine? Vaccine allergies are common and severe. That's a myth. The fact, although it's possible to be allergic to vaccine ingredients, it's uncommon, does not usually cause a severe reaction. You will see actually a slide that I have from CDC. For all the vaccines, there is a likelihood of one reaction in 1 million people who get any type of vaccine. You can see that's really, And now today, when they're vaccinating people, if you happen to have pre-existing allergies, you need to stick around for a few minutes and see if they have an allergy, and you can use the EpiPen to help you. Because if you don't really have any reaction within the first in 15 minutes after your vaccination, you shouldn't have really any problem. Okay. Do I need a COVID vaccine? A myth. If I don't get the COVID-19 vaccine, it's my choice, and I won't affect people around me. If you don't get the vaccine, you can get the coronavirus and spread to others. So it's your choice, but you got to protect the people around you. Myth. I'm healthy and I have a good immune system. I don't need the vaccine. In fact, COVID-19 can have long-lasting effect on anyone, not just certain groups. You got to be really, really careful. You got to, because nobody's immune against this virus. Myth, I don't need to be vaccinated because COVID-19 only kills 1% of people. Getting the vaccine is important to protect yourself and others. That's a fact. You got to protect yourself and other people around you. When will life go back to normal? Myth, vaccine against COVID-19 will make life go back to normal. Fact, even if a vaccine, other preventive methods are crucial. Public health and social control measures need to be, bit followed, because, we don't want to need to run into any issue if you take the first vaccine, first dose, and you don't go get the second one, you might get the virus because you didn't complete your. So we know with time, more people will get the vaccination. And we get to what we call herd immunity. We'll see actually in the next slide. So a month for enough people to get the vaccine to fully slow the spread of COVID-19. So it's important to stick to those public health and social control measures. Can't herd immunity take care of COVID-19? Myth. Because of a herd immunity, vaccine is necessary to slow the spread of COVID-19. A vaccine is a crucial step in reaching herd immunity. And what I can tell you, we know you can get herd immunity through infection or through vaccination. So far, all herd immunity stories we heard, they came from vaccination. And then we don't know exactly how many people we need, but the figure is really, the estimate we have, it's between 90%, 70%, 90%. Some diseases can be 60%, 70%, or less than 70%. But for this one, I think they think it's at least 70% of people vaccinated be able to get the herd immunity. Will there be enough vaccine for everybody? Myth. There will not be enough the dose of vaccine for everyone to get vaccinated. In fact, having more than one potential vaccine should increase availability. It will happen. You remember the program the WHO came up with, COVAX, which is a consortium of 190 countries. It will happen. But until that time, it's important to slow spread of COVID-19 by masking, social distancing, hand washing, and avoiding large crowd. Can employer require employees to get the vaccine? This is I'm giving an example here in the US. EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, is a US federal agency in charge of enforcing law prohibiting discrimination in the workplace. On December 16, 2020, said employers can require employees to get vaccinated entering the workplace. Okay? So the general rule is yes, there might be some exception. If he can prove some way of following those, basically public health and the social control measures, as, the 6 meters between people, some other measures can take. Otherwise, an employer can require it to get a vaccine. So under US law, private employers have the ability to define the general working conditions, including adoption of health and safety within the workplace. Okay? So that's why they might require. So requiring employees to get vaccinated against diseases that could compromise health and safety in the workplace is viewed as a part of the ability, okay, that employers have. These are some of the tips for professional reporting of COVID-19 vaccines. We have more than 100 vaccines in various trial phases, some reaching pre-approval stage, and some are being used now. The journalists, the reporters, they play a vital role in informing the public on science, specifically vaccines development in an unprecedented period of scientific publishing. Situation is constantly evolving, and some general guidelines should be followed whenever possible. You see, don't just report the top line. No press release. Please look at full study or research report. Don't trust that automatically. Use trusted, reliable sources. State the source. Define the terms. Use clear language. Explain the stage. Report the numbers. Disclose the side effect. Use appropriate imagery. Don't forget the demographics. And remind everyone of the benefits of vaccines. This is the figure I gave you earlier. According to US Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, only 1 in every million people vaccinated have a serious reaction. So 1 in a million will have a serious reaction. That's in general though. Why can't we talk about vaccination? Vaccination be sometimes difficult. I mean, in recent years, but not even recent years, because I showed you the code it's been around for more than 100 years. There's been an increasing concern about vaccine hesitancy. There are many reasons. So it's easy to be fearful, distrustful, and confused by information being provided. So much information now, we have social media. This led to the topic of vaccination becoming an emotional chat debate. So we believe that asking questions is a powerful and positive tool. So anyone living a chronic condition, they have to ask the healthcare providers to really get the information. So what makes vaccination a controversial topic? Misinformation, as I said, is confusing. A lot of people on the internet are providing their own information. It's not fun, you're taking your baby to a healthcare provider, they're giving them a vaccine, and then, it's for the parents, that can be really, really quite heartbreaking because you don't know what you're giving to that child. That's why people are nervous. And then they falsified the study. There's a fraud study, it lives on. A fraudulent study falsely linked the MMR, vaccine and autism. It was published in 1998. They finally retracted a decade later, but it's still being used to mislead people. Do you know the doctor who published this paper? He lost his license to practice medicine in the UK. So you understand this is really serious. So it's not now new. Anti-vaccination argument have been around for as long as vaccines have. In 1882, the Anti-Vaccination League of America had its first meeting in New York, claiming the smallpox was not an infectious disease, but a condition spread by filth. Okay. Finding the fact you can trust. Is it really an official source? Check the URL. Is it secure? Is it an official, the government website? Check the references. Do the claim come with the sources? Can you trace them back to the reliable information? And then you look at Google. Most of us use Google. Google it. Does the information appears on a trustworthy site or in a scientific journal? We have to reframe the conversation. Many people struggle with how to discuss vaccination when confronted by a friend, relative, and acquaintance who express hesitance. Dismissing their views is not effective, and the facts alone are not effective in changing the behavior. So we have to go back in the art of a conversation, try to communicate and then give them time. Let them do their own research and go back to the conversation and see if they be convinced. You don't need to be more gregarious, animated, or outgoing to have good conversation skills, nor do you need to be a great storyteller, actor, or comedian. You need to have the ability to listen attentively, asking fitting questions, paying attention to the answers, listen to what is being said, be curious. So basically, now we have internet, we can do our own research, then have a discussion with someone who we think have the expertise, and then decide. Because nobody will force you to be vaccinated as such, except in a case of the workplace, as I said, even traveling, countries may be asking you to provide you a vaccination, a proof of vaccination against COVID-19. In that case, the airlines will require you to have that proof. So until then, let's stick to public health and social control measures. Remember the 3 W's: wash your hands, wear a mask, watch your distance, avoid the 3 C's: crowded places, close contact settings, confined and closed spaces. And we will have to do this until we really think it's we have enough people vaccinated, and then the virus will be gone away, and then we go back to a normal life. That's why I said your safety is your health, your only health insurance. Learn and apply it in every aspect of it. Thank you for your time. And let's see. Let me share the. Okay. All right. So I'm done.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gassana, for this informative presentation. Thank you indeed. And I leave it now for anyone who would like to have question for Dr. Gassana.
Hello.
Hello.
Dr. Husana, that was wonderful educational session. Actually, you have opened our eyes with a large, latest, valid, accurate information on the vaccine.
Thank you.
I appreciate very much, sir. Hats off to you. My worry was when the vaccine started and they started distributing across the globe. My question, it was always there. They have given importance based on people. First priority was the health workers, and the second people who are aging.
Right.
Why they have not given priority to the children? Any idea? Do you have any statistics? I just wanted to know, out of the curiosity, why the children were not taken seriously into the consideration about the vaccine.
Because the pharmaceutical companies, when they did their clinical trials, they didn't involve children. So they don't know what happens if you give it to a child. Because the reason was, they said, well, most of the children have a good immune system. Even when they have it, they don't transmit it. So what they decided to do is to first vaccinate the front line workers and elderly, and then go to the other age range from 16 to 65, because simply the clinical trial didn't cover children. So you don't want to give a vaccine if you don't have the data from a clinical trial, because no regulatory agency would have allowed them to do so. That's the issue.
Thank you, sir. The second question pertinent to it, if I will allow me to ask, minus 70 degree storage and freezer, it is totally impossible, like you already said, and minus 20 degrees centigrade temperature when you store it works for the 6 months. But many, can you hear me, doctor?
I do.
Thank you. So the question was, now India has come up with a biotech vaccine.
Right.
Which is Serum Institute of India. It has been a secondary mode where they will store and they started giving these vaccine based on their priority, like you said, for the health workers and the aging people.
Right.
So my question is it a sample being tested? I heard that the chimpanzee stool being used, and then it totally decapacitated and destroyed the actual virus, the spike form virus like COVID. Then they used in it. How true it is? Is it true? And I have also heard that it has been tested before also for the measles, for the malaria, for Ebola. And similarly, this test has been very fruitful, they say, even for the COVID-19. Can you give us some information on that?
You talk about the mRNA vaccine, the mRNA, that technology they use?
No, I'm talking about Pfizer and
the Pfizer, vaccine.
Yes.
Well, I follow I look at the data they have for the 3 clinical trials, and it turns out they didn't have really many side effects. They have some allergic reactions from phase 1 to phase 2, phase 3. That's when they confirmed, in fact, they can be used. And as you know, FDA, even though it's a regulatory agency for the United States, the people decide, they have their board. The board is the one deciding. These are outside scientists who really not part of FDA. So they had to really look at the data from those 3 trials. And once they really are comfortable that the results are really reliable, it means the vaccine are working and the immune response has been basically enhanced. And they really tell FDA, look, you can give the company the permission to start using it because they look at the data. And that will happen with Pfizer. So, but the problem is this mRNA vaccine, as you say, the temperature, those low temperature are a big problem. I had a story actually from my students here in Kuwait. You see, a number of people registered to take the vaccine, but some people at the last minute, they change their mind. And you understand the problem the Minister of Health have in Kuwait, because if you don't show up, because they open up the freezer, the lot they took the vaccine from to give some people would be wasted. So in the end, they had to throw it basically. So if they open the freezer, they had to make sure they finish the lot they have. You can see the issue with the low temperatures. There will be a challenge in a country where, for example, in Africa where I was born, they don't have those freezer for minus 90, 70 degrees Celsius.
Thank
Doctor,
you,
whole world
Ram Kumarji.
Side effects. Long term.
Hello. Dear Ram Kumarji, we are having some more question. If you can
The last question I have is, the last question.
Yeah.
If you can allow me, please.
Be real quick because there are a few more questions to take.
I was quick, actually. I was really quick. Okay. Sir, doctor, whole world is looking forward for the long-term, side effects. Do you have any idea or you have any thought process that people are really worried about because they wanted to know what could be the long-term side effects? Thank you.
No, we really don't know. I'd be lying to you because as I saw in one of the slides, we don't know the long-term effect. However, knowing in fact that mRNA, it gets destroyed as soon as it provides instruction to the cell, the immune cells to really basically put up the fight against any virus, it gets destroyed. So there's nothing that's really left in your body of it. That's why people really are hopeful. In fact, they won't have any long-term effect. The only thing we know so far is the short-term effect, like allergic reactions. And I told you how they deal with them. You stick around for a few minutes and they see if there isn't a problem, because you won't have any other problem once you leave. And then you have to get your contact information just in case you have a problem.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, Ram Kumar, for your question. Thank you, doctor. There is another question by Noor Al-Sadi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Could you please give me 1 minute so that I can post the quiz?
Okay,
I need
go ahead.
answers
Yeah.
actually.
Okay,
Good evening all. I'm going to post the quiz, online quiz. Please answer and I'll get the quickest answer people, and I have to give the certificates for them. Okay. So that's why I'm taking a minute of your time. I have posted the quiz, online quiz. Okay, it's very simple. It's only 1 minute. You can answer all the 5 questions, and you can receive the online certificate automatically once you submit the quiz answers. Thank you.
Can I?
1 minute only.
Okay. Can I ask my Dr. Gassana?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Regarding the mRNA, these vaccines are given the emergency use authorization.
Correct.
So, do you think it's ethical to tell the patient this is not a licensed vaccine, or it's so what do you think? Because it is approved as for emergency use authorization by the FDA and WHO.
Correct.
So what is you tell the patient, about the?
Well, you basically you tell them the truth. You see, because we had an emergency.
Yeah.
The vaccine was put together, and then WHO and the other regulatory agencies were able to approve it because the way it was made, it followed all the protocols needed.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, that's really what you tell the patient.
Another short question regarding the ethnicity and age. The phase 3 trials, most of them, some of them, they are age up to 55 and the other up to 80 years. Do you consider the age, regarding the efficacy and safety, and how the efficacy is different in different age group? I mean, above 65 and below 55. Any difference? Would you consider certain vaccine for certain ethnicity and age group?
Well, actually, according to the result from at least from Pfizer and Moderna, there was no difference. Actually, they think the older people tend to do better with the vaccine, which is amazing. But there was really no issue which group does better than, because, and anyway, if you look at biology, yes, the ethnicities people tend to spend time on it, but the biology is the same. So pretty much there is no difference in terms of reacting to some of these vaccines. And as far as I know, looking at the data from Pfizer and Moderna.
Yeah, in Pfizer, I think 40% are from Black, and in Moderna, I think 35. So it's, but I'm talking about the others, the AstraZeneca or the Sinopharm or...
Actually, those are good questions. I really don't have any information. For example, the ones from China and Russia, we really don't have a lot of information about those.
Yeah.
So I'd be speculating. They try to tell you what happened there because they didn't provide the data, so we can really look at those and So that's the issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Janvir. There was a question from Noor Al-Sadi. There was a recent news 3 hours ago. 23 people in Norway died after taking Pfizer vaccine. Most of them, 23 people. And
you said in Norway?
In Norway, yeah. And they were above 80 years old. Now, there was a query, why are they insisting giving the vaccine to the elder first if they have weaker immune? Any thought on this?
Well, actually, I didn't really get the news. You said there was
okay, but the question concern is that once older people are having weaker immune system, so what is the thought process to giving the medication to the elder people?
Yeah, that's really a very good question because as we age, we tend to lose our immune cells, and that's a problem. But what the Pfizer and Moderna did, they pretty much include those. And in the clinical trials, they really didn't see any such effect. But if Norway got 23 people dying, that's serious blow on what we're talking about here, because I think it's the frontline workers, the doctor, the nurse, the pharmacist should be first, and usually they're not that old, and then you can go to other people. However, I didn't hear any story from Florida. I'm from Florida. We have a lot of older people. They've been vaccinated. So far, I didn't hear any death so far. So one need to follow up on a story from Norway.
Yeah.
And see why.
Okay. Thank you,
because
Doctor.
you remember the Queen, and her husband got the vaccine a few days ago, and the husband is 100 and the Queen is 95. I mean, they didn't die. So
yeah, correct. That is there. So there was another question. What is the age minimum and maximum limit for taking this vaccine?
For Pfizer is 18. That's the minimum. Up to old age 85, whatever. They didn't have. There was an upper limit. So, but Moderna from 16 to whatever, to the old age. So no pharmaceutical company went below 16 years of age.
Yeah, great. In your presentation, you mentioned 3C.
Yes.
And I am understanding one of these responder has given crowded place, close contact setting, and confined and closed spaces.
Correct.
Right. Just to rephrase all of the participants who has catch up at the last moment of your presentation. But indeed, this was really very eye-opening presentation from your end.
Thank you.
And we will see 1-2 more questions if it is coming in between. Then I will ask your help in this. No Ramana, problem. If we are ready with the quiz question.
Yeah, can I have? Can I ask
okay, sir.
One short? Because, I have one patient, he received the first dose of Moderna, Pfizer. And after 1 week before the second dose, he got COVID-19 infection. So do we have to give him the second dose or not? It is not severe. It's I can tell it mild, moderate, and he was on quarantine at home. So to give the second dose or not?
It was an allergic reaction?
No, at all. He was not allergic. He got the infection after 2-3 days. He started to have symptoms.
That happened to a nurse in the UK.
Yeah.
See, when you get the vaccine, it takes at least a month to mount the immune response.
After the second dose, he will get the immune response.
Exactly.
Am I right?
You show my graph. It's the second dose that's provided 100%, basically.
So we have to give him the second dose, because, even if he had natural infection with COVID-19, but still we can give him the second dose.
Well, yeah. In fact, there was, I was reading the research about people who have, those who have quite the immunity, strong immunity, the ones who have, severe COVID infection.
Yeah.
I had the actual doctor who now he had the high titers of IgG antibodies after 9 months. So we now know you can have the immunity up to 9 months. So far.
Yeah.
We hope we might get to a year. So, but they if not, they need the vaccine.
But nobody knows the duration of protection in the vaccine or in the natural immunity. It's not clear till now.
As I said, the latest I read was 9 months. This doctor who acquired it basically back in March.
Yeah.
So he had been tested and all his antibodies are still high after 9 months.
9 months.
That's
After-
the latest we can go to, because we keep learning new things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Sardarji.
Yeah, announce it.
We'll go with felicitation.
Yeah, start with
Okay.
Dr. Janvir. Yeah, Madam is there. Yeah.
Yeah, we would like to present Dr. Janvir Gassana with appreciation certificate by the ASSP Kuwait chapter. Dr. Gassana, this certificate will be sent to you by email shortly. Thank you so much for that.
Okay. Now I'll announce quiz winners. We have received around 40 answers so far, and
Great.
there are
Good response by people. Yeah.
yeah.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Jitesh, could you please wait for some time?
I am asking regarding the certificate, and
Please
now
wait for
I
some
am
time.
already.
Hello. Please wait for some
Okay,
time.
okay. I already submitted my. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Muruganandam Busapati. You are answered in quick time.
Thank you.
Would you able to? Actually, the first winner was Dr. Shrikal Fazem, but I didn't announce her because he's our
No, I
committee.
shouldn't do that.
Okay?
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, you are the quickest, ma'am. Congratulations, Mr. Manjur Rasurdar. He is participating in every technical meet and he is getting the quiz certificate. Congratulations, Mr. Sheikh Makbul Basha. Congratulations, Mr. Jakula Ramachandra Murthy. Congratulations, Mr. Muhammad Mudassar Najar.
Fourth Achin.
Yeah. Right, unmuted. Okay, Subhadji, shall we continue?
Okay. Okay. If there is any question, we can take 1-2 question with Madam permission, and then we will be able to close it. Because the doctor may be having some engagement. Just check, Dr. Madam Sikha.
Yes.
If you allow, we can take 1-2 more questions
Yeah,
if the gentlemen are having. Yeah. Ramana?
Yes. See the chat box.
I read it, all this chat box. Yeah.
Yeah,
The last
there is.
one more is there, I think. Last one also.
Last question. This is a situational question. Dr. Janvir, if you can able to hear me.
Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Janvir.
Yes, I hear you.
The question is from one gentleman that one of his friend taken antibody test and it was showing negative in private hospital. But if he went to public hospital, the test is shown positive on same day. Do you have any idea what is the concern in this?
Well, basically, the tests are not 100% really accurate. So there's a chance they might miss your positivity and then label it as a negative while you're positive. So there's a slight, percentage of where they will miss the case. I think that's probably what happened in the first hospital. And then when they go to the second, he got the vaccine.
Okay, so there may be some shortcomings somewhere in this. So he need to repeat a third test to make sure on this. Yes, sir?
Yes, actually, that's the best way.
Yeah.
Get on the test.
Yes, Mr. Murugan, if you have question.
Can I ask for Dr.
Yes, sir, but real quick,
very quick.
Yeah.
Any role for post-vaccination test for immunogenicity?
Oh, you remember the test of the immunity?
Yeah.
That would be really, really costly, but that would be the ideal situation actually. But I don't think many countries be able to afford that.
I see.
So yeah, the feasibility is the problem. But if it's done, that would be the best way, because we will know how. For example, the doctor mentioned we had still high antibody levels after 9 months. He had been tested,
So it's not important to do this.
Yeah, it's costly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, doctor. Mr. Murugan, if you are still around us.
Yes, Zabdar. Thank you. Today was very interesting and informative session. Thanks for ASSP and vice members. Doctor is given very international information, very short time. Also, my questions are: what is the precaution to be followed between the 2 doses? The maximum people are not aware about the precautions to be followed from the first dose. Can you advise our international practice?
Okay.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. I was distracted.
Sir, I'm looking what is the precaution to be followed between the 2 doses. At practice, we have to take 2 doses for COVID vaccine.
You have to take 2 doses.
What was the precaution to be followed between the 2 doses? The people has to get aware about. Any limitation between the?
It depends on because you saw Pfizer, it's about 3 weeks, and in Moderna, it's about the same actually. So you had to wait after the 3 weeks and you get the second dose.
Yeah, in the meantime, people they may take
one
more
dose
medication.
is not protecting.
No, actually, my concerns are between the 2 doses, the people are taking extra other medication maybe affect the vaccine functions.
No, I don't think that's the case.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Sabdar. You can go to the next question.
Thank you, Dr. Janveer. And Ramana, I think we have.
Yeah, I request everyone to open your cameras, please.
Please open your camera for group pictures. Now, your participation really matter a lot for us, and it encourages us for looking for a new webinar like this. It was really very eye-opener, and we are looking for a new hope in coming days. And now you are having a fresh knowledge of where we stand today in terms of vaccination and the process being followed on. So be participative and watch for our WhatsApp message. Ramana, if you have done, then I will invite Dr. Sikha for closing remarks.
Yes.
Yes.
You can hear.
Yes.
So on behalf of WISE committee, I would give a really heartfelt vote of thanks to our speaker, Professor Janvier Gassana, who I know that he's really busy person with many researches, but he spared time for our event. I would also like to thank people who worked hard behind the scene to achieve this event, the WISE committee members, Janet, Zahida, and Ahlam, and also for our technical arrangement man, Mr. Ramana. We thank you once again to all for you and for making this this session successful. And I hope that this session will really change or make you have the right information about the vaccine, and you share it with your family and your friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sika, for arranging such a wonderful eye-opener session, and we look forward for your continued knowledge sharing session like this in the future. And our always usual support and participation is there with you. Thank you very much, all of you, for making this webinar a very successful event. And a special thank to our speaker today, Mr. Janvier Gassana.
Thank you for your wonderful coordination of all this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have given a very insightful knowledge about where we stand. Okay. Ramana, if you have done everything with this, and check our speaker email is correctness, so he will receive our felicitation certificate. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. Okay,
Thank
then we will be closing our meeting now. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
You all have a good night, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you all. Ramna, everyone.